All right, Jimmy Korderas here with us. Jimmy, any one match you thought was the greatest you ever refed, or does any one come to mind that you're like, wow, I'm lucky or proud to be a part of this match?
For me, it's got to be WrestleMania 24, the main event, Edge and Undertaker. Little story there that I wasn't originally scheduled to referee that match. It was actually Edge and the Undertaker requested me for that match, which was a huge honor. And to me, to say that they have enough trust in me to actually want me in that match meant more to me than anything. And to be the main event in the main event at WrestleMania, obviously, they're the ones that are drawing the tickets, but just to be a part of that, there's no greater feeling in the world.
Awesome. How is being a ref in the business? Not a lot of people knows what it's like. If you could sum up maybe a normal day, what it was like in the WWE, what would it be like? And I know you could probably go on and on about it, but you know, we all know the wrestlers, we all know the superstars, but we don't get a chance to know who the referees are. I mean, could you give maybe a brief summary of what it was like, just maybe in the day of a ref, if you could sum up everything?
Yeah, for a lot of us, some of us also worked ring crew as well, so you'd be pretty much the early guys to show up. You set up the ring. During the day, you'd kind of get together, find out what matches you had for the day. You kind of, go over a few things with the guys and find out what's going on. You'd referee the show. Obviously, in between, somewhere during the day, you'd have to get something to eat. Yeah. And some guys would work out, some guys would go for a little run, keep the cardio up and stuff like that. You do the show. After the show, you tear everything back down. You're off to the next town, and that was pretty much the daily routine.
Well, how many, was it set to a limit, like you guys only allowed to do 3 matches tonight, or was there ever a limit, or it's just whatever they needed for?
No, it was pretty much random. It was like whoever made up the ref schedule would say, Mike, Jimmy, whatever, and then they just go down the list, and it wasn't like you make sure that everybody has 3 matches or make sure everybody has 2 matches. It'd be like kind of go in order, and some guys would get 4, some guys would get 3. It didn't matter.
All right. Are there any funny stories that may have happened in the ring that come to mind that you could probably tell us about? Any one story at least, something that nobody knows about?
Well, my first match at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, and for those who don't know the the historic building, it's basically, we used to call it Madison Square Garden North as a comparison. So it's the first match I referee at Maple Leaf Gardens, and I'm so excited. And I go down to count a fall, and my pants split wide open, and it's not just a little tear. I mean, it's like from the back belt loop all the way down into the to the crotch area. I mean, it's wide open, and I didn't know better at the time, so I was wearing like blue underwear. So you've got black pants, and there's this big blue moon hanging out there, and I did my best to ignore it and continue with the match. But the worst part about it was, at the time I didn't realize that you should have a backup pair of pants. Yeah. So I had to borrow a pair from one of the other referees who was a lot larger than I was. So the only thing missing for the second match I refereed that night was pretty much clown makeup and clown shoes, because these things were huge. But I learned a few lessons. Bring a backup pair of pants and wear black under your black pants.
Perfect. If you could have refed any big match in the history of pro wrestling, which would it have been?
Ooh, tough one. There's so many classics. I'll give you 2 that come to mind right off the top of my head. Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, the match that they had in Chicago. Or actually, number 1 for me would be the first Undertaker Shawn Michaels match, which to me, I still rank that as the greatest WrestleMania match I've ever seen, and maybe the greatest match period that I've ever seen.
All right. Any thoughts on the current WWE product and what you would have loved to see in the future?
I know there's a lot of criticism about them moving towards a PG product. I don't see it as full-on PG, because I see some edgy stuff on there, and people clamor for the Attitude Era to come back. And you know what? We get little glimpses and pieces of the Attitude Era every once in a while. Like I look back to when Daniel Bryan got beat down by Triple H and that sort of stuff. So we get little glimpses and pieces, but if you get that every week, then it doesn't become special anymore. I see the WWE nowadays as more of a for lack of comparison, a variety show. You get a little bit of everything. You're going to get some good wrestling matches because they've got some good talent. You're going to get some comedy segments for a certain element of the audience. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. It's hit and miss like any comedy. You get your divas, you're going to get your talking segments. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody. You can't please everybody, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So I try to always look at the glass half full and sit back and try to enjoy as much as I can. Like I said, obviously there's going to be stuff that might make me scratch my head a little bit, but at the same time, there's going to be stuff that I'm going to like too.